Final hour overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Yo-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, Sara Orlesky coming up here in a few moments. Dear Hayesy-B later in the hour.
Yeah, Hazy, I just saw your favorite golf course. Can you imagine standing on the 10th tee at Riviera and a plane landing on the course?
Harrison Ford or what?
I don't know.
That's precisely what it was.
You remember Harrison Ford?
That's one of my favorite clips ever.
But he's had two of them. Because one was where he landed on the golf course. The other one was when he landed on the taxi runway with the big jets flying around.
With like a 747 about to take off.
Like, what does this guy do? Just go to the neighborhood pub and plow back 7 beers and then go flying on his
Jumps
bird?
in his plane.
Yeah. And you can hear, like, the operators are like, oh, it's Harrison Ford. He's flying again. Harrison, you cannot land right now.
A menace.
Like, you can't. He's an absolute menace to society in Southern California. And there is this video. I just saw it myself. Like Riviera, which survived the fires, which was a minor miracle that it did. And it really is one of the all-time great courses. There is some lunatic who clearly has no idea what
under
he's doing.
distress.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
I mean, the plane is, hopefully.
But it looks like that looks like a 17-year-old took his dad's bird and was like, let's take this thing for a rip. And he ends up on Riviera, like on the 10th tee.
Yes, unfortunately. And everyone's okay and survived, and that's clearly what you want. But that looks like someone who's like, oh, I'll just land here, and it's a golf course.
That's a Cessna 182 or 172. Like, our family used to own one of those. Like, I used to fly in one of those.
Come on.
When I was 16 years old, I took flight lessons with my dad. Like,
nice.
we used to fly those, like, a lot. They do touch and goes and everything like that. But, like, those planes are, I mean, the older you get, the more fearful you are of flying around in those things. Like,
absolutely.
It's a car with a propeller and some wings. Like, it's I don't know.
And you don't know who's in there.
Yeah,
like, that's
you have
the
no
wild
idea.
thing, man. Like, you see it, you drive, like, Buttonville Airport. I don't know if Buttonville's still around or not. You used to see guys, pulling in there in their trucks, and they're like, all right, that guy's going to be in the air in half an hour. And where is he going? Like, where is he flying
a menace.
to?
Yeah, like, that's the weirdest
I'm off
thing.
to Sault Ste. Marie. Like, really? You're flying to Sault Ste. Marie? Okay. All right. You're licensed. You can do it. Like, the wild thing is you see it up north. If you're up in Muskoka, the guys with the water planes,
yes,
like, they'll come down. I see it almost every summer. A guy who overshoots it, he's like, zzz, and he's got to go back.
Yeah,
up.
you've got to do a touch and go, or just overshoot and come back. Like,
and
a
there's
flyby.
boats out there.
I avoided
kayakers.
those things. Like, people are like, oh, I got a water plane. You want to just go for a tutor? Absolutely not, man.
No,
I'm not
thank
landing
you.
on top of some guy's barbecue and game over. Like, no thanks.
No, I have no interest in ever
It's
doing
crazy.
that.
When my dad retired, him and 10 other pilots built a plane that landed on its belly in the water, a Grumman. Like, it was like, they built it.
You're kidding.
10,000 man hours.
Wow.
And he's like, you want to go for a rip? I'm like, no, I'm not going and landing on its belly and popping the roof open. And
I just can't trust that. One of my best
impressive,
friends
man.
is a doctor. He's got his own bird. And, like, there's been a couple times where I visit him, and he's like, yeah, there's this great course. It's like 3 or 4 hours away, but we can just hop in my bird, and we can take the bird. And I would just be like, I don't want to go in the bird, man. I love this guy like a brother, and he's the safest, smartest guy, but it's just the horror stories. I could just see the headline, like, O-Dog and his doctor buddy, they went to go tee it up, and they're peeling him off the beat. Like, no way.
I know. It's scary, man. It is. Yet that's the future. Like, that's coming, man. Like, probably not in our lifetime.
Flying cars and all of that?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Like, that really is what is going to happen. It's going to be
What
the
are you
Jets.
talking about?
There is flying cars right now.
100%,
There is
dude.
flying cars. Like,
100%.
there is, and it will be. Hayes, I think it will be in our lifetime that you will be like the Jets.
Possibly.
Come to Mimico then, okay? Come to Mimico, where people, I've been catching them. I honk my horn and I roll up at the light, and they're like, is there something wrong? And I'm like, yeah, you're going 10. It's like Chris Farley in the movie. It's like, you weren't going 80, you're going 10. People cannot drive on a street anymore, and we're going to throw them up in the air?
That's
Sorry.
the point. That's
no
the point.
way.
Well, they won't be
telling you.
controlling anything, though. That's the thing. It's going to be
AI.
You
computerized
have no
AI.
idea
Exactly.
you have no idea what you're
telling
talking
you,
I know
about.
precisely what
it's
I'm
the
talking
wave of the
about.
future. Like you're
Yeah.
going to see.
Well, have you been
automated cars.
briefed on AI cars
Yes,
that I'm not
I have.
aware of?
I have been. I have info that you have. You don't even have the common sense to even compute what I'm talking about and where I think the world's going. But I'm
It is
telling you,
going.
dude, I'm not convinced it'll be in our lifetime. Like, I'm really not. But it
So
will
you
happen
thinking
at
there's a
some
time
point.
where you're going to get into a buggy,
Yes.
and you're going to
Go
just
right
type
up in the air and take off.
Yeah.
And and people are just going to be flying around.
It'll be automated. Yeah,
100%
I agree.
it's happening.
Well, you think about it. You can now Google it. There are people with jetpacks that bomb around like the Jetsons or whatever, like that old cartoon. There are people that fly around in jetpacks.
You ever seen a guy with one noodle?
Well, that one's
in your backyard.
And
not in my backyard, but I've seen it, and it's not like a movie. It's a guy flying around in a farmer's field trying it out and stuff. And again, you guys are around. Oh, you're around lakes and stuff like that. I do believe. And Hayes, you're up in Muskoka. I'm not sure what it's called.
200 feet away, and I haven't seen one person buzzing around.
I don't know what it is.
Mobile.
It's a jet propulsion. Like you sit on, and it shoots you up in the air. I don't know what they're called. But my buddy Scott Patterson was doing that last summer at Muskoka.
That's right.
I don't know what it's called, but he's bombing around on this thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know what it's technically called. I wasn't briefed on that, but I've been briefed on other things. And what I'm telling you is where we're going. Because think about this.
Dude, you got to shut up, man. You're here for hot takes and opinions and ins and outs.
But think about
this crap.
Remember, this is a drop that people use all the time. Like, we fly around. 100 years ago, if I wanted to come see you, it would take me 3 days, and I'd have to jump on a horse. You can fly to Australia and be there tomorrow night.
Right.
Like, you don't think in 100 more years it's going to be insane what we're doing, let alone 200 or 500. You think in 500 years we're just going to be, oh, man, my bumper's loose. I bet. No chance.
No, it'll be.
It's going to be crazy where it's going. We're not going to experience it. But we've already got to experience a lot in 100 years. We got Sara Orlesky on. She didn't take a horse and buggy to get down to St. Louis.
Yes.
She didn't leave before Game 1 so she could be there for Game 6. She flew down.
She flies private. Private jet.
She flies private.
JP, scratch this from the podcast.
No, this is
great,
information, man.
riveting talk. I'm telling you, there's going to be flying cars.
I guarantee you, Sara Orlesky believes that at some point
she wants to win Game 6 tonight. She doesn't care about flying cars, for Christ's sakes.
There she is. Go ahead, Sara.
What have I walked into here? This is, out of all the times that I have been fortunate to be on with you guys, I usually have some idea about what you guys are talking about, but obviously I should have been connected.
Sara, let me just put it this way. let me put it this way.
I have no clue what you guys are talking about.
Bryan Hayes claims you're in St. Louis for a massive tilt tonight, Game 6, Blues Jets, okay? He thinks in 5 years you'll be flying your own little mini aircraft there, and that's the way of the
I didn't
future.
say 5 years, but at some point, personal aircraft will be like grabbing a cab.
Me.
Yes, 100%.
No. What you don't know is that I have a fear of small planes and helicopters, so there's not a chance that will happen. Maybe I will go back to the horse and buggy.
Okay, so you're going backwards. You appreciate a horse and buggy. Okay, I appreciate that.
It's classic. I like to think it's classic. You don't want to be trendy. Classic reigns supreme.
Very true. Yes, it's like a hipster way of transportation. I don't know how we got to this. We were talking about some guy flying onto a golf course, and you know how it works around here. Anyway, here we go. Game 6 tonight. The significance of Mark Scheifele missing the game, in your opinion, like how much does that factor into the mentality of the Winnipeg Jets going into the game tonight?
Look, it's huge that you don't have your number one center going into this game, but we did see in Game 5 what other players step up in his absence. Now, I would argue that it's one of the best games, if not perhaps the best game that we've seen from Vladislav Namestnikov as a Winnipeg Jet. So is it a huge hole? Absolutely it is, but you're going to look to your other players to be able to step up. This is the hand that you have been dealt. There's no excuses for it. Everybody needs to elevate their game, but this is certainly, it's tough enough when it's in your own building, but this atmosphere in St. Louis has been electric as well. And we know that in this series, home ice up to this point has reigned supreme, with all 5 games being won by the home team.
So, Sarah, I just did a SportsCenter hit, and you're talking about potentially Nikolai Ehlers coming back, no Scheifele, who's going to step up? Is it just as simple as maybe the guy who's up for the Hart and the Vezina, and he's been pulled in that building 2 games in a row?
Yeah.
If he just has a statement game, I mean, he can close out the series. Maybe not by himself. He's going to need help. But is it present that he could have a statement game and maybe quiet down everybody who's been challenging him in the playoffs?
Well, 100%. Look, if he comes in and steals this game for them, and then it will quiet people down, because that's what we've come to expect from Connor Hellebuyck during the regular season. We haven't seen it up to this point in the postseason, but you have to think that at some point we're going to. I mean, I keep waiting for it and expecting that this will be the time that's going to. He is a leader on this team. He is the best goaltender right now. He's going to win another Vezina, a finalist for the Hart. We know that he can do it. This would be obviously a great opportunity for him to be able to step up, but it can't just be on him. They scored a combined 3 goals in the 2 games that they were here, that they played here for games 3 and 4. You need others to step up. So it would be a huge boost for this team in terms of speed, also potential help on their power play to have Nikolai Ehlers back in the lineup. He is a game time decision. I know you guys have said that already, but he did take line rushes this morning. He did practice with the first power play unit. So, I mean, all indications are that he will be back in the lineup and make his first appearance in this series. But you need others to step up. Last game, I mentioned Nemesnikov. Nino Niederreiter had a good game and contributed with the goal. Dylan DeMello got his first goal of the series. You can't just put it on the goaltender, but obviously you need him to elevate his game too. And he has said this week, I'm sure you guys at some point have talked about it. He spoke to the media on Monday when it came out that when it came out that he was the Hart finalist, and he did say that, look, he needs to be better. He knows that, and I expect that we'll see him do it. We'll see him do it today. There you go. I'll say that. We'll see him do it today.
Sarah, how about Monty? Do you think Monty's up for any free dinners in Winnipeg anytime soon? Or what's the vibe in the peg about Monty and some of his comments?
Can I say that the banter, I mean, you guys appreciate good banter back and forth.
Yeah.
The lines going back and forth between Jim Montgomery and Scott O'Neill, I mean, I'm all for a little bit of chuckling.
Spices it up.
He said this morning, I don't know if you heard that the Blues had plane issues yesterday and weren't able to fly out in the morning like they were supposed to. So they didn't get in until around 9 o'clock last night. They were supposed to be in around 1 in the afternoon. And so he was asked about what they did to kill time in Winnipeg. And, he referenced cards, Netflix, whatever. And then he made some joke about how he spent his time in the OR, alluding to his medical degree. And I appreciate some good sarcasm.
As you should, yeah. Jim Montgomery, that was great, man. And Scott O'Neill, I appreciate his retort, right? He wasn't happy.
Yep.
Absolutely, nor should he be. I mean, I got no problem with that. He knew likely the status of Scheifele by the time he stepped up to the podium, which is significant, of course, because now he's not playing in Game 6 tonight. But in terms of what the Blues have done and in terms of how physical they've been, have you been taken aback by that? Were you expecting it? Because it has been a gruesome series so far.
I think, look, I expect it to be a physical series, but I don't know if maybe to the extent that we've seen on both sides, the way that they've been able to handle it through all 5 games through this season. I thought that maybe at some point that it would slow down a little bit, and we just haven't really seen that. We have seen, you think earlier in the series you saw Logan Stanley with some big hits, and then you see the way that the Blues are continuously trying to take the body with Josh Morrissey, what they're doing with Mark Scheifele. I thought that it might peter out a little bit by now, but no, they've just kept going, and we'll see. We're in store for, I think, a great game here tonight again. And the energy, Noodles, you know how great it is inside this building, and especially, I mean, playoffs. The atmosphere between the rinks, both in Winnipeg and here in St. Louis, has been great, and you expect nothing less from a Central Division matchup.
I thought to myself, and maybe this is a little bit old school for me, but Adam Lowry is not a guy who's shy to drop the gloves, and neither is Braden Shen. When's the last time we saw a captain's fight? Was that Iginla and LeCavier?
Iginla in 04.
You know, like that. I don't know. With Shen running around, and you know, to me, I could feel like it could be a scenario where Adam Lowry just goes, "I'm fighting you whether you like it or not," and Shen would be a welcome recipient of it. He's a guy who's not shy, but for some reason in my mind, maybe it's just wishful thinking. Wouldn't that be amazing to have a captain's fight tonight?
I mean, it would be, but you also look, special teams have not played in Winnipeg's favor throughout this series so far. So, I mean, the benefits might not outweigh the potential negatives, because you really can't afford, with the status of Mark Scheifele unknown going forward, you can't lose another center. And Adam Lowry contributes so much in a variety of different ways, and we've seen him play injured last year during the postseason. Just think that they have been almost responsible in the way that they have responded to the physicality in this series. I think that it would be wise for them to continue doing it, whether that be because you don't want to be shorthanded or you don't want to have the potential risk of injury, because then they are very thin down the middle.
Maybe we get the
There's
old
me
Primo.
just being too responsible with it, Noodles.
Yes, me too. We want to see the fight. I want to see maybe Luke and Braden go at it tonight.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
I don't know. I just think something can happen. It just, to me, and I know it's Game 6 and the stakes are high. It's just at some point, because Shen has been literally, you know, Braden Shen has been blowing up the Jets, legitimately, like blowing them up. And at some point, somebody's got to step up and say, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that happens tonight. But as I said, I mean, my only concern would be, could there be any potential downside of it might outweigh it? But you've said before, and I mean, you've talked about Adam Lowry ever since he became captain, what you like about what he brings to this team and the elements that he has. And so he's a leader on this team, whether he drops the gloves or not.
Sara Orlesky live from St. Louis. Horse, buggy, the whole 9 yards. Enjoy the game tonight.
You know what? Now that they only have 1 day in between games, we've had so many 2-day breaks in between games in this series. Now that they only have the 1 day in between, it might be challenging for me to get back for a Game 7. So from a Winnipeg perspective, here's hoping that they close it out tonight.
Good luck.
Otherwise, I'll be in Fargo, North Dakota, and I'll join you guys on Monday.
We will FaceTime you from Fargo. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks so much, guys.
There's Sara Orlesky, of course.
I got some news for you,
in St. Louis.
You remember we played at Hamilton before the Canadian Open, and my buddy Joe played with us?
Yeah.
Deals with cars. And he just wrote me and he said, I know everything about cars, the future of cars, and anything about AI dealing with cars. There will never be a flying car. Thank you very much.
Well, Joe's wrong. I just sent you some videos.
Dude, what are you talking about? The guy, he's an expert in cars.
Okay, but he's a car guy. He's a ground guy. I love Joe, but Joe's got 2 feet on the ground. There's literally stormtrooper hovercrafts flying around places all around the world.
I honestly feel like I'm in a dream and having a conversation with
Luke
morons.
Skywalker, man.
I'm telling you, you guys see the video I sent you.
Yes.
Joe put that up. That is at an Auto Expo 2025. That was a couple months ago.
Ever heard of AI-generated videos?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And in the video, it says this is not AI-generated. This is at an Auto Expo. It's not like in some Rick's backyard. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, in the future, there will be some sort of hovercraft, some sort of vehicle that will fly. Now, do you
100%.
Want people flying around? No. There's people that can't drive on the 400. Could you imagine them flying around? They'll be flying into buildings in downtown Toronto.
Well, do you know how much of a baller move it would be to be flying over the 400?
Yes.
Right? You could fly over, farms and, but you're like, no, I'm going right over the 400.
Yeah.
And I am blasting music and I'm letting everyone know I'm here.
Your
JP's going to Japan soon. Maybe JP is just getting on a hovercraft, a Bumblebee hovercraft, and buzzing to Japan.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be amazing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's
there
that.
it is.
The flying car draws
There's
attention
JP.
to auto show.
Right over the North Pole. JP is Harry Potter on his way to Japan. I need JP in that thing.
Now,
Who created that? That looks ridiculous.
It's
that was
basically
Julian
a drone.
from the Trailer Park Boys. That's who the guy with the headset on.
Your friend Joe, was it your friend Joe? Is that what his name is?
Yeah, shout out to Joe.
Shout out to Joe. But you're right. I don't think this is a mainstay everyday thing anytime soon.
The bubble. That looks like Homer Simpson's car. Remember he created that?
Yes.
You guys wouldn't have seen that. Anyway, I'm telling you, it's coming. It's going to happen. You have to embrace it. It's just going to be a part of the future. And I think it's going to be great. I really do. I think it's going to change the world, and I'm prepared for it. And also, not to get too deep into this, you don't think the U.S. military has stuff built that it doesn't mean the general public should ever get access to it. I guarantee you they've got something where one person can jump on it and take off. And
for sure.
It's all good.
There's so much technology out there. I think in the future there will be a lot of different things that change. But you're right. It could be generations after generation.
Yeah. Maybe,
we just don't want Harrison Ford driving it.
No,
that's
exactly.
the moral of the
Harrison
story.
Ford.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, technology and stuff.
Rick Wilde
running the whole operation.
Trump technology and stuff.
I could see Trump hiring that guy to run technology and stuff.
That would be
the technology and stuff department run by Rick Wilde.
Technology and stuff.
All right, Dear Hayesy-B coming up. I don't know how we possibly get it less on the rails, but we'll try.
Yeah.
And Best Bet's coming up later this hour as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Dear Hayesy-B coming up a little bit later in the hour. Mail It In Fridays, brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. This playoff season, Boston Pizza is planning the parade and has a new all-star playoff menu for you to enjoy. For pizza, pints, and puck drops, visit your local Boston Pizza today. Quickly, Mike Sullivan, locked in New York, right? Just want to point that out.
How many coaches they got to mow through?
That's the thing.
Gerard Gallant, and then
Laviolette.
Peter Laviolette. What, is Peter Laviolette some stiff? Won them the President's Trophy, then what, all of a sudden he was garbage?
No,
I'm sorry.
You're right.
They got bigger problems than that, man.
It was Dan Quinn then. It was Quinn, Gallant, then Lavi, and now Sullivan. I mean, that group has to own it. And I think Chris Drury will. It starts with the coach, but then Chris Drury is going to probably retool or reshape some of that group. But obviously Dolan believes in Drury. He got an extension.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, he's sticking around in New York.
It's
and that means if you're hiring Sullivan, you just paid Shesterkin, your thought is you have to make the playoffs next year.
100%.
Are you? Yeah, of course.
Obviously. But then, and we'll get there next September. We don't have to do it right now, but that's a message to the Habs, to the Senators, to the Devils. Don't get comfortable. You got to keep improving and getting better here because the Rangers plan on getting back into the dance.
Don't be shocked if Boston's in the same boat.
They very well could be.
Yep,
they very well could be. And they still have to hire a coach themselves. It won't be John Cooper because Brisebois, the GM in Tampa, came out today and said, no, John Cooper is returning. I'm not sure where people are getting this from, that maybe Coop wouldn't be back, but he is. And quickly, before we get to Dear Hayesy-B, Jim Rutherford, one of our favorites out in Vancouver, was doing an interview, the podcast, I believe, and said something of the likes of, on July 1st, Vancouver is not on the top of the list for a lot of players. So planting the seed for free agency, not great. Effectively indicating it's just not a market that I guess a lot of people have at the top of their list. But the real spicy meatball was Quinn Hughes, and that was the big story this week because Tocchet left and what happens with Quinn Hughes. And Rutherford said last week that Hughes has indicated he wants to play with his brothers. And Rutherford said that they have him under team control for 1 2/3 seasons because if they get to the trade deadline 2 years from now and he's not signed, they'll quote-unquote have to do something, which is very settling, very comforting. Again, if you're a Vancouver Canuck fan, he's basically calling a shot. If Quinn Hughes doesn't sign an extension next summer, he will be traded. Like,
dude,
I don't know what
other
of that,
approach
man.
is there? I love the honesty.
You don't have to say it publicly. I mean, you don't have to be like that. It feels like a tactic to try to effectively force Quinn Hughes into announcing that he's there for life, you know. And I don't think Quinn Hughes owes the Vancouver Canucks anything. I think he's got a great contract. They've given him the captaincy. By all accounts, he loves that. He loves the market. I think he's done a great job for them. Like, if you're Quinn Hughes, aren't you looking at Jim Rutherford and saying, give me a reason to stay?
Yeah.
Forget my brothers, man. I never make the playoffs. To make it once. I've been in the playoffs one time. Why would I stay?
I think, you know, what you do is you sit down with them and say, where are you going? Like, if anybody has an opportunity to sign a long-term extension, let's say it's in 8 years, which I'm guarantee you they would offer him an 8-year extension. What are you going to do in the next 8 years? What is your plan for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, up to 8?
Well, let's think about what Jimmy would have to do to get Quinn Hughes' attention. Is he going to fly to Sweden and babysit Elias Pettersson all summer to say, you got to come back and be a dominant player? Is he going to sew together Thatcher Demko's leg and say, you got to be a number one goaltender? And then he's got to upgrade plus on up front so they can start scoring some goals again. It's a massive chore. Like, it's a massive task. Like, do you look in to try to bring Bo Horvat back or some type of transaction like that? Matthew Barzell's from I don't know. But they got to do something, because if it's Pettersson, Hedl, zero chance. 0-0-0.
Yep. Well, exactly. Like, McDavid and Draisaitl will be there next year, and Vegas will be there next year, and LA, like within the division alone.
Yeah, if you want to attack that division or any division with Pettersson question mark and Hedl, no way. No way.
And the other thing, too, is you get a mandate a lot of times probably from the owner. But if Rutherford ever leans and says, we might have to do a rebuild or a retool on the fly type of thing, that's what Quinn Hughes will go, okay, that chews up 2 or 3 or 4 years of my prime. Mm-hmm. That, you know, there's big decisions to be made. Now, we've seen it. Teams are able to, when you have the framework of some pretty good players there, you can spin it around pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But that you have to have a plan in place, and he has to be able to trust the people that are driving the bus as well. There's a relationship there. We're not privy to it. But if he trusts in Jim Rutherford and his management team and whoever, here's the other thing. Who's coaching me?
Well, that's
Here's the question, too. Who's coaching me? Because the guy that just left, I really liked him.
And Rick talking to Saturday.
It's going to be fascinating, some of the coaches that get hired. Like, your team's not that good. You got to gas the coach. I get it. But who are you going to be bringing in? Like, who are you bringing in? It's almost time where you got to get some fresh blood. Or
maybe it's Manny Malhotra.
Are we just going to keep doing the recycle game?
Yeah, Manny's a guy on a short list apparently out there in Vancouver.
Right. They know him from the minors. They know him from the organization. Mm-hmm. Well liked. You know, by all accounts here in Toronto, quiet guy, but really progressive, really ultra smart. You know, it isn't just recycling a guy who's got fired or whatever. Maybe that is where you head in that direction. Younger, progressive guy.
Spencer Carberry
type of guy. Correct.
Yeah, and Jack Adams was revealed today, the 3 nominees, and Spencer Carberry in Washington, Scott O'Neill, and Marty St. Louis in Montreal.
Good on Marty.
Yeah, good for Marty. Yeah, he deserves. I think he deserves that. I mean, that was the big surprise team to get in, was Montreal. You know, we thought Travis Green maybe was in the running, and I'd be curious where he landed in terms of the voting. But of all the teams, like, that's the checklist. You get a team that was not expected to compete to make the playoffs, you're going to deserve the spotlight, and that's what happened with Marty St. Louis. All right, you guys ready for Dear Hayesy-B? Let's fire this thing up.
Yep.
People send in a tweet. They write us for our professional advice on life things. Dear Hayesy-B, every morning my boiler has a gas leak. My wife thinks it's the baby.
Dear Hayesy-B.
If you want to come to Hayesy-B, I need honesty from you.
Hazy, you got dumped a lot. Tell me.
Grown adults with birthdays, it's asinine.
All right, Dear Hayesy-B, brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. This playoff season, Boston Pizza is planning the parade and has a new all-star playoff menu for you to enjoy. For pizza, pints, and puck drops, Visit your local Boston Pizza today.
Hayesy-B, I want you to answer this one first because you've dealt with fanny packs, you've dealt with showing up at the rink, losses, people hating you more than usual. So this guy writes in, Dear Hayesy-B, got 2 tickets to the Leafs-Florida Game 1. Gone every year with my brother who was a diehard fan. Our record in the playoffs is not good when in attendance. Do I mix it up this year and take my girlfriend or keep the tradition alive?
Well, that is the ultimate question, man, because there are a lot of fans that are superstitious. You mentioned it. I have been blamed for just being in the building. I was blamed for not wearing a fanny pack at one point. Very, very stable analysis of what's happening in society. I think you keep the tradition going because I think the beauty of the Leafs in following the Maple Leafs and any team that has their history, although there's very few examples of it in recent memory, the Cubs and the Red Sox, that's about it. It's about it for me in terms of that level, is you got to commit to the grind and you're going to go through the ringer and it's going to be incredibly difficult and challenging and hard, and it has been, but the payoff is going to make it all worth it. And if this is the year the payoff is coming, you can't cut your brother out of it now. You can't do it. Because then what if they get through Florida? What if they're in a cup final? You get tickets. You're going to tell them, sorry, you're out? No chance, man. Listen, you got to commit. You got to commit. And I think every Leaf fan in the back of their mind, that's what they're hoping for, is it's going to pay off. And when it does pay off, it's going to be worth all of the heartache.
I agree. You just say to the bro, no matter what, we're going. No one else is going.
Yep.
Like couple guys or 4 guys that go on a golf trip every year. No matter what, we're all going.
You have to be
there.
there.
Just say these are memories. Some of them are tougher than others, but we're going.
Yep.
Or you could just say, "No, you're sorry. It hasn't worked."
No, you can't do it, Noodles.
I know. I'm joking.
You cannot do it.
What if you do pull that? If you do pull that one and they win the game, your brother's gone forever.
That's what I'm saying. You get to a cup. They finally make it to a cup final, and he's like, "Really? I'm not going to the cup final?"
No, my girlfriend is.
No,
girlfriend. Actually, she gassed me, but I have to call her and beg her to bring me.
It just, I know there's superstition, and we talked about this 2 days ago. Doesn't matter what you do or who you bring. Austin Matthews isn't going, hey, it's Rick. Hold on.
Hayes, where's your fanny pack?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the fan? Okay, like checklist. Does this guy have his jersey on? Does Hayes have his fanny pack on? Did that one guy bring his brother instead of his girlfriend? Like, you enjoy the ride or you don't enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Go at it. I say I agree with you guys.
I hear you.
We got to toss this guy some bird seed because we have some pigeon behavior.
Oh, yeah?
To report. Dear Hayesy-B, just got out of a 3-year relationship at the gym. An attractive girl approached me and asked me for my number. Since my answer for 3 years was always, no, sorry, I have a girlfriend, I instinctively just told her that just before I could even think to say, yes, of course, and give her my number. So this guy went and said the wrong answer. She said, can I, you want to hang out? And he's like, sorry, I have a girlfriend. Because that's what he's been saying for 3 years.
How many girls are approaching this guy?
This is what I was going to say. How good looking is this guy?
I told you, we got to chuck him some birdseed because he's a pigeon.
Yes.
I see her every few days now, and she looks right past me. What's the play? Do I tell her about my mistake with the words, or is it even too late to recover? Thanks, guys.
Go up to her and ask her out and just say, hey,
Noodles, do you think a woman these days would believe a guy if he went up and said, when you asked me for my number the other day, I totally screwed up and said I've been dating someone for 3 years because I just broke. She would slap him right in the face and say, you're a moron.
I don't know. I'm not in the dating world, but I'm saying I think you just be honest and go, you asked for my number, I'm asking for your number, circumstances have changed, and then it's a funny story over dinner or drinks and go, to be honest, I've been single. I choked. I panicked the other day. But I come back to, listen, I'm no Jim, but I don't think I've ever had anybody walk up and go,
this guy's so full of
I need your number.
Yeah. Hey, I'm dying for your number.
Wait, this guy could be very good looking, so good on him. But I think you go back and ask for her number.
Oh, I think that's totally reasonable. I think you although this guy sounds like women are just throwing themselves at him, so just wait for tomorrow. Someone else will come over.
Maybe he's Doogie.
Yeah, maybe he's got the Boston Pizza body spray.
Yeah.
And women just simply cannot avoid it. But no, I think you're within your rights to basically laugh about it yourself. Self-deprecation, I think it works. And to say, honestly, I'm an idiot. I don't know what else to tell you. Here's the truth, blah, blah, blah. Maybe she tells you to take a lap, like, oh, you just said? It's possible. It's coin flip. 50% of the time, she may say, actually, you're out. And then you might have to find a new gym.
If this guy's telling the truth, I think she just says, bud, you got to go stuff it, man.
Well, then fine. Let her walk. Who cares? Right? Listen, you've been in a relationship for 3 years. Maybe this wasn't the right time to get back into the dance.
Yep.
Yeah, just take your time. It's all good.
Yeah.
Dear Hayesy-B, I played my first round of the season with my regular crew and discovered a nasty new development from one buddy. He's implemented the new Aimpoint technology over putts.
No.
He's implemented Aimpoint over every putt. 3-footer, Aimpoint. 30-footer, Aimpoint. How do I handle this insanity? For the record, this guy is a 14 handicap, but he did shoot 82 in the first round, and he putted better than I've ever seen him. Ray and Barry.
That last point is, I think, important context, because you're not getting this guy off it. That if he's putting the lights, a 14, if he shoots low 80s and is hitting putts, that guy is not going to stop because Ray has told him, I don't like the aim point.
Dude, all he needs is one putt to go in of consequence, and he'll be like, I'm doing this forever.
Right. I think honestly, Ray, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I think you're toast, because I play with some guys, not my usual crew, that will do the aim or will do the standing thing, like to one. Is it like what does it feel like around the hole?
Let me just ask you this: do you know at least one guy? There has to be guys that are doing this that have no idea what they're doing.
Oh yeah, I
think they're doing it for show.
Yes, I have a mental image of a guy that does it, and I'm like, you have no idea what you think you're reading.
No, I know.
It does not benefit you at all, but you think it does, which I guess is a part of the program with golf. But the aim point noodles, you wouldn't understand, but it's awful. Like, it needs to be banned from the PGA Tour. They got to get rid of it. You can't have idiots doing this all the time and doing the standing stuff.
Are you allowed to use lasers at all?
You can, in terms of like on
that's
tour,
distance.
That's
like
a distance.
No,
thing.
I'm
This
talking
is
like if you have some sort of contraption from your putter, and there's a laser that shows the line that you can hit.
In practice, yes, not on the course.
Is that illegal or is it just unethical?
Dude, if you did that on a tour, somebody would put you in handcuffs on the first green and escort you off
I'm not
the property.
talking on tour. I'm talking at Weston. I'm talking at
even that, dude.
I
that
would
be
punch a guy in the head.
Yeah, if some guy pulled a laser out and started reading putts, that would be the last time they play.
I think it would be unbelievable.
I think it would be funny, and if he did it as a joke, it would be hilarious. But if he was doing it legitimately, it would be over. That would be the end. I saw something at the range this week. A guy with one of the sticks, the aiming sticks, and he had brought his wife out to videotape. And his action, he was sculling and shanking and spraying golf balls.
How does the wife video that serious? Like with a straight face?
I could not believe what I was.
By the way, this guy's going to approach you. You know that, right? Because he knows
it's
who
not
it
at
was.
my range. It was at a different one, so I don't think I'll ever see this guy again.
What if he recognized you and you're like,
then I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
then I'm in serious. Although I'm not naming names, but he knows who he is. If he's watching right now, you know who you are. I know who you are, and I saw it, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. The aiming stick and his wife behind him, and she's like, all right, what do you want me to do? And he's like, just aim first at my feet, and then I want to see the hip action. Like, it was a whole Scorsese directing scenario.
I'll only give him props for one thing. The fact he got his wife in the car to go to the range.
Brilliant. Brilliance. Yeah, and she hit some balls too, don't get me wrong. She was there like to hit ball. It wasn't all set up for that, but then once she was done, he was like, here, I'm working on this action. You make sure you find out what's going on. And it was a package deal, to their credit. Happily married. I'm not disputing that. Dear Hayesy-B. All right.
Love it.
There you go. That's good stuff, man. The aim point, though, it's got to come to an end. It should not be happening on tour, let alone in public. Should not be happening anywhere on earth. 14 handicaps? Come on.
Well, if it is going to be allowed, you get it one time. Like you get one stance, one finger
Do you
up.
do it? I feel you do it. I feel you're bringing it in. I think you're you saying what you just said, that's very unlike you. You would ridicule it. You would say get rid of it. The fact that you have acceptance for it, I think you're doing it, and it scares me. I think this might be your email. Maybe one of your guys.
Yeah.
Sent this in.
Somebody
Ray
of
from
his
Weston.
from the course. Exactly.
Oh, doing Aimpoint. I want to see it. If it works, then I don't know. Who am I to say anything?
Dude, you know the deal. When you're members at golf clubs, like, you know the greens. Like, if there's a putt that really gets you guessing, like, sorry.
That's
You've
another
seen
part of it.
Every putt
Yes.
a million times.
You know every pin. You know everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and if it's a 6-footer, even more so. Like if it's some crazy 50-foot putt or something, then maybe you got to have some sort of a read of what's going on. But anyway, there you go. Dear Hayesy-B. Love it. All right, best bets coming up on Game 6 tonight. St. Louis and Winnipeg. We'll tee up the weekend, and continue to look ahead to round 2. The Leafs are in. Leafs Panthers. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. Earmuffs out in Winnipeg. I'm on St. Louis tonight. I think this is going 7. Got the Blues tonight. Braden Shen 1+ point. Robert Thomas 3+ shots on goal. Big game hunting plus 832. It's a big parlay. Best bets powered by FanDuel. Live same-game parlays are now available for every Stanley Cup playoff game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 19+, physically located in Ontario. I got the Blues tonight. I don't know where you guys stand, but they've just been so good at home. It's been such a close series.
Got to stop. Everything's got to stop once in a while, Hayesy-B. I think the Jets get it done tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really do.
All right. I'm pulling for them.
Maybe it's wishful thinking for me, but I feel like Hellebuyck needs to have a game. Like you're looking at narratives being switched here in the playoffs on a lot of different things, a lot of different teams, organizations. That one needs to be switched.
Yeah, we talked about it the other day, Jamie. Like, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
If he can change it and be like Dynamite Hellebuyck and just say, screw you guys, and shut the door, that's a game changer, man. Especially with Scheifele out.
Oh, it's
be massive.
Biggest thing going, man. Like you can't game plan for it if you're Scott O'Neill, but you can hope for it, right? You can visualize it because he's done it so many times in his career.
Yeah,
and
he's got to do it in the playoffs.
He's got to do it in the playoffs, and it feels like he's just got to get through 20 minutes, doesn't he? Like settle in. The building's going to be going crazy. Make some stops.
Yeah,
settle in, and you're like, okay, here we go. You get through the first period 0-0, 1-0 Winnipeg, then obviously that'll be a very good scene for him.
Yeah,
but they've run him out of games quickly. That's the thing. They get after him, they get on him.
Well, he rarely gets pulled, and he's been pulled twice in that building in the last 2 starts there. That's why I think something has to change there. Now, maybe it's just making it through the game and they lose, but ultimately, I think he's got to be a difference maker there.
He does.
They need him big time.
What about Game 7, Colorado-Dallas tomorrow?
Telling you, Ottinger's the difference.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's a great series,
Here's
man.
the thing I would say. Pete DeBoer's undefeated in Game 7s.
Why would he lose this one?
I never doubt Peter DeBoer.
We shouldn't ever doubt it, but that's the thing. Colorado's going to try and change that. So,
well, Bednar's what is he, 0-3 in Game 7s or something, and 2 of them are against Peter DeBoer?
I mean, I don't know. This Colorado team, that's going to be must-watch TV. Like, that game will be unbelievable.
That's partially why I kind of want St. Louis tonight, so we get another Game 7 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, you give me primetime Saturday, primetime Sunday, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
only
beat that.
game in town. That's the real deal.
One game. And it's the same thing tonight. One game tonight, one game tomorrow, one game Sunday. And then reset on Monday, and we're going to know the 8 teams that are left.
Yeah.
And, 2 of them are going to be in the Cup final.
Yeah.
Like, it happens quick. It's been a fun day today. I mean, the Leafs, to their credit, they showed up in the series. They played well, and they won. And you get through Ottawa, and Ottawa had a great season, all things considered, and they reset. We'll see what they do in the offseason. I don't know if you're expecting a lot of activity, Noodles, in Ottawa. But
I would say, when you look at it, they're going to do a full assessment as to where they need to continue to add. I don't think that it's going to anything less. What they're going to do is try and add to this group. And, I think they've got some currency to do that. So, I mean, I like the future there for them. Mm-hmm. But again, you got to take another step. And we talked about it earlier. The Rangers are going to try and push back. Boston, all of these other, so it's not going to be a cakewalk. And nothing's guaranteed. Put it that way.
Nothing is. Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Monday at...
That story about the dork at the gym was actually you in high school, and I know it. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.